Today I'm working on a 2021 Ford Ranger with the 2.3 liter Ecoboost. This is a 5th gen Ranger, and out of all the mid-size trucks, this has to be the easiest by far to do maintenance on. Having the inline engine. I've had a 2016 Frontier with the 4 liter V6. I've had a 3rd gen 2016 Tacoma as a work truck. I've put about 70,000 miles on. Both of those are far more entailed to do a simple spark plug tune-up. They've got a V6 engine, they've got a plenum in the center that has to be removed. It could be about a 2.5 to 4 hour job depending on your skill and what tools you have available, whereas this is nice and easy. The coil packs are all exposed up top. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Some people say the last one's a little tricky, but it's really not. You just rotate it to about the 5 o'clock position so that connector hookup is facing here, and then just carefully lift up and pull it out. As far as parts and tools needed, you'll need 4 of these SP-594 plugs. These are made in Japan, likely NGK sourced plugs. This is my first Ford, and I'm really impressed the quality of OEM components Ford uses. A trim tool or a flat screwdriver is really handy to get these clips off here that help secure the wire loom just underneath it. Little rocking action, boom. Same thing for the one on the 3rd coil pack there, and that's free. And then this last one is really just you lift up. These connectors are nice and simple. You're gonna take that white retaining clip, pull back, and then once you've pulled back, you press down on the end, and then you should be able to just slip it or wiggle it right off. I mean, I can do it one-handed while filming. 5/8 Deepwell spark plug socket. I'm really loving this Gearwrench with the built-in swivel and the magnet. The magnet works so much better than an old school rubber booted socket. An 8mm Deepwell, and that's going to be for these studs that retain the coil packs. There's 4 of those. And then a torque wrench set to basically 9 foot-pounds. The torque spec is 106 inch-pounds, which is about 8.8 foot-pounds. Some dielectric grease to put on the boot, and then some nickel anti-seize for the plugs. Let's go ahead and loosen up coil pack number 1 here. An 8mm nut on a stud head there. That's loose. Coil pack is off. I actually did already crack this thing loose. Hard to film with dogs barking and a raven harassing me in the background. And there we have it. This truck has about 65,000 miles on it. So it's got the usual, that's actually not rust, that's called corona staining. And these are a platinum single electrode plug, stamped Japan. Let's grab our new spark plug here. I'll go ahead and pop it in here. Rub just a little dab of anti-seize on the threads there. Just being careful not to get on the electrode. That would be bad. And then in the well she goes. I'm a huge believer in hand threading critical things like spark plugs in. I mean, these are aluminum threads and aluminum cylinder heads, so stripping that out would just be a total nightmare. So power tools are not worth it. And I've got this set to the right spec, and that's a real soft click there. And that is in. All right, put a little dab of silicone dielectric grease in the boot there before the coil pack goes back on. Just carefully line that up. Push it down. And we'll put the stud back through the coil pack there. These may or may not have a torque spec, but my rule of thumb is I'll just choke up on the ratchet like that and just snug. This is not Gorilla tight, it's just a plastic piece. And then we can put the connector back in till it clicks, and then slide that white retaining clip back on, and we can go ahead and push that harness for the loom back on, and we're ready to go tackle coil pack number 2. And before I started on this job, I did blow out the cylinders just to make sure there's no grit that's going to fall down into the wells. Stay. And these do not have any NECs on them from the factory. So I know Ford had a big controversy on the 5.4 V8s in the mid-2000s. Those were also 100,000 mile spec, and the plug itself was a bit of a fragile design. And it was not uncommon for them to shear off in the head. And it was such a big problem, Snap-on actually made a special tool for it, but a lot of people had to have their heads pulled for a basic tune-up. So same thing. Good shape there overall. What you would expect for this many miles. Not sure I'd want to push that another 35,000. That seems a little unnecessary. Another dab of anti-seize for the threads here. And in the well, number 2 goes. And same thing, just kind of hand spin it until it seats. Then we'll torque it down to that basically 9 foot-pound. I think it's 8.8 is what the math comes out to. Nice soft click there. And we'll put a little glob of Di-electric on the boot there. Just kind of spread that around a little bit. Get that NECs off there. Press the boot back on. Put the connector back in. Make sure to reseat the white one. Take out the plug for coil number 3. Sorry, cylinder number 3, coil pack number 3. This looks to be the same consistency as what's come out so far. Same corona staining. No signs of anything issue-wise with ignition and how the engine's running, which is good. And this is really just rinse and repeat. I said, not a hard job. I'm not sure what a dealer would charge for this, but I'll probably do these about every 40K moving forward, just being a turbocharged engine and all. So, some anti-seize on there. Drop that guy in. I really like this magnetic Gearwrench socket over the old rubber boot style 5/8 sockets like Sears and everybody else sells. They release from the plug a lot easier. You don't have to worry about your socket getting stuck down in there if you don't have locking extensions. And having that swivel built in is really nice. Okay, ready for another dab of dielectric grease here. I'll just swirl that around the boot a little bit just to make good contact. It is refreshing in an age of increasingly more complex vehicles, especially as we move to more and more turbochargers. The idea of a car you can do a simple Sunday tune-up on yourself. Gotta hand it to Ford on this one. This is an easy engine to work on. Fuel economy is fantastic. I get between 22 and 24 combined. Now that's mostly country roads and highway traffic driving. I don't do a lot of city. Pretty impressive for a four-wheel drive truck. Far better than the 19.5 I was averaging in a third-gen Tacoma. And about the 20-ish, 21 or so I was getting in a second-gen 2016 Frontier. This will be one connect. There we go. So I'm just going to rotate that boot where the connector is basically facing the 5 o'clock position. Pull that loom out of the way. And then just carefully pull this up. I think the factory manual actually mentions releasing this fuel line coming in the high pressure pump there. And that is definitely not necessary. We'll switch up to a 3-inch extension just for the clearance there. I'm 6'4" and I'm leaned in all the way to reach this. It's wild to me in what feels like an increasing race of who can have the highest and longest hood line. GM in particular seems to love that game. I could not even do a spark plug tune-up on those without a ladder. So now, I don't know what this is exactly, but there looks to be, almost looks like some corrosion or rust going on here. Like maybe we've had some water in that cylinder. Now I have sprayed this engine out gently a couple of times just because I've had some critter nesting issues and I like to erase the scent trails. But yeah, another good reason to do these plugs. And examining these plugs after they're out, these have about 65,000 miles on them. They've got the normal corona staining, not in terrible shape, but definitely worthy of replacing. These are nice and cheap. I think they're about $8 a piece or so. But you can definitely see this came out of the furthest cylinder. I don't know if Ford considers that to be number 1 or number 4, but there's some moisture that got in there and left some corrosion on that. So good reason to change these every so often. I have rinsed this engine bay out a couple times to get rid of some critter trails, so I'm not surprised on that. But yeah, apparently that's what these plugs look like looking around the internet after about 40,000 miles in these Ecoboosts. So with those clips undone, you can just lift up slightly on the back here, slide that back, and actually pull it back forward a little bit, push it towards the throttle body, and then you can reach in here and get to your air filter. And I think mine was done about 25 or 30K ago, and honestly, it's not too bad, especially considering I live on a dirt road. So with that said, we'll take the new filter, put that in. I'll probably keep this old as a spare just in case I have a critter go in and do any chewing. I've got one on standby. Make sure that's all seated flat in there. Had to move the camera out of the way, get a better angle. Basically just line that back up, slight angle, push in, a little pressure on this back edge there, and then double check everything still looks to be seated. You'll press down, put your clips back in place, and that is done. Sometimes you'll find there's some leaf litter or debris in the bottom. If that's the case, I usually just hit it with a vacuum. You don't want to have anything blow into your throttle body. Remember, that's the clean air side. And we are done with the engine air filter. Cabin filter super easy. Open the glove box, push in up here by the top. I'll let you release the glove box there. And then once the glove box is released, you're gonna go in, and where this little tab is, there's 2 tabs. You're gonna go pinch these and then pull that forward, and it should slide out. From that left side there, you have to get it a bit of an angle, and then you're in to where your cabin filter is. You want to make sure the thicker sides go towards the right and left edges. The airflow arrow is going to go towards the fan. This is a Wix. I think the Fords might actually say this side up, so just make sure you're paying attention to that. But the fan is drawing air from the top down through the filter. And the Wix part number for this one is a WP 10410. So I already put the new filter in. You're going to put that in at an angle like so. Line that up over there. And that's a cabin filter change. I think that filter at Rock Auto was about 10 or 11 bucks. Dealership or Quick Lube would probably charge you somewhere around 50 to 70 for that job.